Battle of the Challenges with Vincent Cloud.
And David Lauer.
And this is the 10th episode. This is the conclusion of episode 9, which I deemed as production shenanigans, with Bananas being able to
Bananas
show
was
up
able to somehow snake his way back onto the show after getting eliminated.
And if you were doing better than him, that meant you didn't get a second chance. This is leading up to the dome, and this is what Teresa has to say. She says, "It kills me to know that either Naya or I won't be making it to a final, especially because these two girls have been working the hardest in the house." By that she means her and Wes, they've won 3 challenges, and Leroy and Naya, they've won a challenge and they've won 2 domes already. And now this final dome coming up is without an exile. It's not a final dome, but it doesn't have an exile. It doesn't have a second chance. So how is that fair exactly? Either way, it's going to happen. On the other side is Leroy and Naya. They're going in. Before this, Leroy has this odd moment. I don't know if you caught this, but he's saying, "We're the chosen one. Our life is already written, and things happen for a reason. Things are still aligning the way that they should be." And I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it. And he gets super quiet during his confessional. And he's like, "I gotta step out for a minute." And he walks off.
It was like his come to Jesus moment or something. It's like he had an epiphany.
Yeah.
Or like a moment of clarity, perhaps.
This season, Leroy's just been showing us different sides of him. He's always been promoted as like, he's just super laid back and he's easy and he doesn't ruffle any feathers. He's just kind of sailing through these challenges. But now he has to fight. He's been going into so many domes. Plus, he's tried to play the political game, even if it only lasted a night. Still, though, Leroy's really showing these different shades of Leroy. How many shades? Say it.
50 Shades of
Grey.
50 Shades of Leroy.
Gross.
It feels like he's trying to have like a moment of like great mental like understanding and like yes, this is a destiny. This is like his great epiphany of something awesome. He's trying to have his great intellectual high point, but it seems like it's forced and he's just acting this way. I don't really feel like you are having a moment of incredible like genius or anything.
You don't really think he's getting emotional at this moment? I thought he was. I was just, that's why it stood out to me. I was like, Leroy, you never show any emotion towards anything. He's either just kind of, laughing something off, kind of smirking, says his little joke, and that's it. He'll get pissed off when it comes to going into domes, but I've never seen this side of him before.
I guess this is the first time I've ever seen him talk like that. So like I just didn't know what to make of it.
Oh.
Like it just took me off guard, and it was like I don't know if this is like phony or real.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just me not knowing him and not seeing him on a lot, not really talking in depth about anything.
Our natural built-in mechanism to distrust any reality show.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what it is. But you know what? When I try and promote the challenge, when I try and talk to my friends about MTV The Challenge, the letters MTV nearly kill any chance. Every time I try and mention the show, I'm like, to be honest with you guys, one of my favorite shows, which is way more, it could be so dramatic and involving and political as Game of Thrones, but be very physical, like Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
And but then it's the repetition of people doing a reality show over and over and over again. You naturally get these huge sprawling character arcs and storylines, mostly rivalries. Let's be honest with you. It's mostly about the people who hate each other. That's the thing that people remember. We're at the Dome, and it's called Hall Brawl. This is a repeated elimination. This was from Battle of the Seasons. Wes actually participated in this elimination before.
I feel like I saw that one, didn't I?
You may have.
It's one of the few challenges I've seen him. So I've seen this go down before.
Yes, you have. Against Big Easy, which was embarrassing in itself. So the Dome is Hall Brawl. And I'll be damned. If I were to say I didn't see this coming, I'd be a liar. And I'll tell you why. If you actually pay attention to the intro credit scene of the challenge, it shows Naya going against Teresa in Hall Brawl. It also shows her going against Avery with the ropes and the cords and stuff.
Yeah.
So that
And
means
that was at the beginning of the show?
it always has.
That was at the beginning of the show?
It always has.
Really? So
Yeah.
you've seen that?
Yeah. And I've kept quiet until now because now it's over and done with.
So you knew at some point. So every week it didn't happen. You're like, well, it's gonna happen next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it showed Nia going against Teresa in something, so I'm like, oh, okay, well then that means every dome leading up to that meant that they were going to win. So I knew Bananas and Nani were going to lose that time, the same way I knew that they were going to eliminate Johnny and Avery in that hooking up to the cord challenge.
Yeah. Wow. So many of those finales of those episodes were just spoiled.
And I figured the only reason why producers would leave huge gaping spoilers would be like, well, because we have the concept of the exile elimination, where it's best of the worst, the losers bracket, where you even if you lose, you can come back. So after seeing that intro scene, I was like, okay, so then that must mean Johnny and Avery get eliminated, and who knows, maybe they take on Bananas and Nani, and then they go forward, and then they verse whoever loses ultimately between Teresa and Naya. You know? It's horrible. But yeah, I knew it the whole time. It sucked. I just had to sit on it and be like, well, it's only a matter of time before this episode comes up.
I feel like a lot of people had to have noticed that.
Maybe.
Like if
perhaps.
you paid, I don't know.
I mean, I know enough to kind of look away sometimes. And I feel maybe some other fans feel the same way, where they're like, hey, production loves to spoil the shit out of challenges. So just don't really watch the trailer. Just tune in to make sure you find out when the premiere date is, and that's it. You look away when the intro's coming. You just listen to the intro song, and that's it. Don't look at the images. So now we're here. We're at it. Hall Brawl. Teresa's saying, you know what? I'm not even picturing Naya right now. I'm trying to believe that I'm facing Nani. And Naya on the other side, she's like, you know what? Obviously it sucks to go against a friend, but I'm looking at her like I would look at Nani right now. So both of these women in Hall Brawl are picturing Nani from Nani and Bananas fame coming in because of a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
and they're like,
they both hate her.
Whoever loses out of the two of us, the two women who've worked the hardest in this house, we lose, and there's no second chance. That's why they're picturing Nani.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, fuck this person.
Yeah, she lost fair and square, and then now she's back in it. She doesn't deserve to be there.
All right, so now the rules are the two guys will go head to head and pass each other to tag your female partner, and then that female partner will go through the hallway as well and hit the bell first. So we're going to start off with Wes and Leroy.
They're just full speed ahead, and it's like who can tackle the other guy or throw the other guy down in order to get past him and run.
Leading up to this, Wes is like, Leroy's got me about 25 pounds. But he's like, you know what, I'm going to have to think of something. And what he chooses to do, the bell rings, he dives right for Leroy's legs, but I felt it was way too low. If you want to fight dirty, maybe take out his knees or something.
Yeah.
But he hit around the ankles.
I feel like if you're going for like a football tackle, yeah, you want to go low. You kind of want to go at their knees or their very lower thighs. He went below the knees, and that was just way too low, where he couldn't even knock his momentum off.
Yeah.
He went so low, it was pointless.
Leroy, he eventually has to kind of do some stepping out maneuvers to get out of his hold, but ultimately he's able to take off. Tags Naya. Naya's coming through. Wes leaps through, tags Teresa, but Teresa gets like palmed right in the face.
Oh yeah,
like
stiff arm. It was like Walter Payton.
She's a bigger girl, Naya. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you think that Wes and Teresa would even have a chance in this?
I mean, I thought they could. I really thought he could, because I figured Wes would be smart enough to knock Leroy down and be able to use technique, but Wes really didn't have much technique here. He just went, like, he knew to go low, but he didn't know exactly where, and he went so low that Leroy was just able to high step him.
So after Teresa and Naya collide, Naya ultimately pushes Teresa back with her to her belt and rings it right then and there. So they got the point. Wes
1-0.
Yeah. He starts lowering himself on the ground slowly. Oh,
like he's sliding into a hot tub.
And they're like, "Holy shit, what's the matter with you? Are you okay?" He's like, "I don't know. My neck hurts." And right away, medics are coming in. TJ Lav's like, oh yeah, look at him. Look at him. But on the sidelines, Nani is saying, sucks to suck. Sucks to suck. Am I an evil person for just loving the fact that he needs medical attention right now?
Yeah.
And Banana's like, no, not
she's
at all.
cheering the
He's a
fact that
pussy.
somebody's hurt and down on the ground right now.
A little bit of class. That's all I ask. Am I expecting it? No.
I'd appreciate it. I would notice it. It wouldn't go unnoticed.
Wes finally, he sits up, and then TJ's like, so how are you feeling? And Wes is like, I don't know, my back hurts. And TJ's like, well, then bow out, bro.
Yeah.
Wes is like, no, let me talk to Teresa about this. And he's like, oh, God, fucking neck and my back. Teresa wants to go still. She doesn't want Wes to give up, so Wes is going to give it a shot.
You remember Bananas before he said, what did he say about Wes? He was just like, oh, he's just faking it. Faking it? Did he say he was faking it?
Yeah, he's just being a pussy. He's faking it.
Oh, yeah, he's just being a pussy.
And, and because Leroy, sees that Wes gets up and Banana's like, hey, Leroy, now he thinks that you're going to think that he's going to go low. Now you got to go up. Like, he's just like, whatever Wes is trying to make you think, do the opposite of that. Bananas is on point. Bananas is trying to think, like, what is this guy trying to do? He's faking it. What is he going to try and do? Leroy, he's trying to get sympathy for you, man. So don't feel it. Harden yourself or something,
That's... I don't feel like Wes would ever fake an injury, though. I feel like Leroy is a big physical dude, and when Wes tried to go low on him, like, he probably ended up fucking up his neck. It probably got bent backwards, or maybe he got hit in the head and he had a concussion. Like, I wouldn't doubt that, but ultimately, I don't think there's any way that he was faking it.
But it really is quite insane to expect such a difference in height and weight to go against each other. Like, even Naya towers over Teresa. Obviously, Leroy towers over Wes. And Wes isn't, isn't the same roided up Wes that he used to be, And I'll even attest to that. He's not as big as he was a couple seasons ago on Rivals. Okay, imagine Wes gets hit. This is what I'm thinking. While he's lying on the ground, I'm like, you know what I'd be doing right now? Given the circumstances, given the fact that my rival was thrown in on some bullshit and now I was ganged up on and now I'm here, I'd be like, this is a protest. I'm lying down in protest. I hope my neck gets ripped up because I'm like, hey, fuck you guys. He fucked me over. How am I going to beat Leroy in this contraption? Hall brawl? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was like they cherry picked it. It was like the producers were like, hey, Wes and Teresa are going to go against Leroy and Naya? And it was like they both have a size advantage. It was like, this is a perfect one.
Round 2 is here. And Wes is like, all right, I'm going to try it again. Puts his helmet back on. Round 2 starts. Wes, this time, he doesn't really change up his plan at all. Except sliding sideways.
And trying to grab onto his foot.
The same move, except now, instead of going head first, getting his neck fucked up, he's sliding in sideways and then grabbing him. But that doesn't matter. Leroy's got so much momentum. His legs are probably like a fucking horse's legs. Just kind of steps over Wes again. There's no way he can stop it. He had to go for the waist or something.
To topple him. So if he was going to grab a leg that low, he needed to be able to grab that leg and immediately pull up on it to get Leroy's momentum, like his head and upper body going down to somehow trip and fall.
And if you're going to grab onto the leg, he should have tried as fast as he could to get back up, like Teresa does later with Naya. But instead, Leroy rips out of his hands, so Wes turns around, tags Teresa, Leroy tags Naya, and now they have a huge clash. Teresa's actually able to pull Naya back with her. She really showed up.
It was just like up to her. She's like, I'm going to try and win this all on my own.
And then you have everyone on the side, like Banana, saying, Teresa, let go! Trying to psych her out to let her go or whatever, and it's like, what? That's the whole point. She's supposed to hang on. Either way, Teresa holds on to Naya as long as possible. Finally lets her go, but it's too late. It's close, but it's not close enough. They're done for. They're eliminated.
Naya was too big. She, even though Teresa was able to grab onto her, Naya was able to power through because of her size. It wasn't going to work. It was the perfect challenge where size was the biggest thing that could help you out, and that's exactly what Leroy and Naya had over Wes and Teresa.
There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of outcry. There's two things. There's mostly Bananas fans saying Wes is a fucking pussy. He bitched out. Oh my god, everyone knows it. Mark the date. Frame that shit. And then there's the other side where it's like, weren't they screwed over? Not even the beginning of this episode, but last episode, the whole concept. They don't get a second chance either. Jordan comes in, leans on Bananas and Nani. He's like, in the matter of 36 hours, Wes and Teresa, they went from having the entire house with them to going home. They're throwing their heads back just like, we'll send you a postcard, dickhead. They're taking off. His parting words, Wes is like, you know what? I played a great game. I set myself up for the finals. I took out everyone that I needed to take out when I needed to take them out. And I think Banana showing up back in the house was a bunch of bullshit. Teresa, she says that she's always screwed by a twist that production throws. That is no lie. She was screwed over in Cutthroat, Free Agents, where it was just out of nowhere and she got screwed over. Like, legit, man. People now know from Twitter that she has since retired. Because she was just like, there's just too many times this has fucking happened to me.
It's bizarre. Like, that just sucks.
Yeah, this is her 6th or 7th. And she's been screwed over by twists at least 3 times by my count.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fair. Good job. Good job. Way to keep the playing field extremely level.
I'm going to throw this in really quick. Just a little bit of backstory. Not too much. I know that's what brought us down in the last episode. But, so I wanted to cite what Teresa was mentioning when she got screwed over. In Cutthroat, they brought in a chick as a ringer. She hasn't been in the show in a long time. She comes in, all of a sudden, it's not Teresa versus Tori, it's Teresa and Tori versus Tina. Whoever can do the best against Tina wins. Teresa goes first against Tina, puts up a fight, gets to her barrel at a certain time. The next time, it's Tori against Tina. Tina's already worn out by the first time. Tori just drags her. Tina barely puts up a fight. Tori wins. The thing that's bullshit about that is that Tina is like, she's not even that great of a challenger. So why is it that she gets to get thrown in and she doesn't have a preference to either girl? And she puts up a fight against the very first girl and then she's worn out. She doesn't put up a fight against the second chick. So Teresa's like, I was fucked over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Free Agents, it was just a random draw of the hat. They were like, hey, welcome to the final. But we have these 4 cards, and 2 of them have skull and crossbones on them. And if you flip those, then that means you're in this elimination round. They're like, oh, we don't do a mission to decide who's safe and who goes to the final or anything? They're like, no, just flip them. She flipped the kill card. She went through the elimination. She got eliminated. And now this season. So, yeah, I can understand why she fucking retired.
Yeah. That would be a giant middle finger and like, screw this, I'm going home.
And now I ask you, next season coming up, who do you side with? Wes or Bananas? Because production loves one and hates the other.
Well, I would side with Wes, but I would have zero expectation for him to win. It's basically, to me, like watching next season, if Bananas and Wes were in it, it would be like watching pro wrestling, where the outcome is determined already, and they're going to figure out a way to manipulate it to get the company's guy, what's best for business, to be the winner at the end. Because they're pulling the strings, and this is no different than them booking the finish of a match on wrestling, them booking the finish of a challenge.
Yeah. Wes is CM Punk getting screwed over by Vince McMahon, and Bananas is John Cena, the walking billboard. He wears Johnny Bananas t-shirts on himself, even has a Johnny Bananas bobblehead. So following all this, Sarah says this little gem. Things are going exactly how I planned. And to me, I just gotta interject with saying, no, Sarah. When they won back in episode 3, all they did was say, we're going to make sure that we say, hey, Bananas, we're on your side. And then we're going to go to Wes and say, hey, Wes, we're on your side. And they just wanted to wait until the smoke cleared. That was their plan. Now, has it worked according to like what they technically said? Yes. But they could never have predicted Bananas being eliminated by Wes throwing him in and then coming back and then being pretty much responsible for throwing Wes in. And then now they're eliminated. I don't like the fact that Sarah's like, oh, it all went to plan. You knew that there was a storm, there was a war going on, and you were just like, we're just going to Lay low. That's not a
We're gonna go under this
mastermind
awning.
plan.
Oh, now we're gonna run under this awning. We're gonna run under West, and he's gonna protect us. Oh, there's a big gust of wind. Oh, we're gonna go over by Bananas and hide under his fucking shade.
So let's get to the actual mission of the night, which, by the way, is the very first time in challenge history. A nighttime challenge called Don't Let Me Down.
They went all the way to Panama City for this.
Well, they're in Panama.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, it was basically let's go to town.
All right, so this challenge is called Don't Let Me Down, and I thought it was kind of cool. You're on the side of a building above a highway. Did you see that?
Yeah.
There was a shitload of traffic underneath them.
Yeah.
And then they have all those giant spotlights on them and stuff. I'm pretty sure that kind of hinders your performance. What you have to do is, as a couple, this is a couple race ultimately, where you have to go from rope to rope. You're going to be lowering yourself, and there's 5 ropes. Like in gym class, but you're just lowering yourself. You're not climbing
gym class,
up.
There was only 1 rope. Now there's 5. And this one, you're starting at the top, and you got to make your way down.
Yeah.
You can never lose your grip. You need to be able to slide, but if you slide too fast, you're not going to be able to hold on.
This is what they say as the rules, because you missed it the first time. You have to wait for your partner to go from rope to rope. There's 5 ropes, and it only counts in terms of like how far your team goes. However, if your partner falls, then just keep going to the bell and ring it. Because what if everyone else falls on the same rope? Then it's ultimately up to your survivor teammate. So first goes Leroy and Naya against Jay and Jenna. Naya just can't get rid of her fear of heights. I mean, it's like, who can? Just all of a sudden. Can you? Can you get rid of it like that?
I mean, she somehow figured out a way to. It was like the last one, she couldn't even step up and stand on a platform. But now she's able to reach off of a platform, grab onto a rope, as she's like 100 feet above a fucking highway. And she can hold onto a rope, but she can't just stand on a platform. Her fear of heights is very fickle.
Selective.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, how can you do one and not the other? One seems way easier. If you're just over a pond, you'll land in a little water. Maybe I could fucking hit a car that's going 45.
This really sucks for her because she drops off the second rope. I think she just gets a hold of the second rope, then falls immediately. Then it's just Leroy by himself, but he descends like a fucking madman to the 5th rope and rings the bell. That was pretty impressive, considering he's scared of heights too. You know, he's manning up about it. And I felt really proud of him for doing it because I know how scared he is of heights.
Yeah, and I mean, he just dominated Wes physically, and now he dominated this, another physical challenge. He's showing physical dominance. That if he's in a challenge and it's physical, he's a top dog.
Meanwhile, on the other side are Jay and Jenna, and say what you want to say about them, but they get to the 3rd rope and then they fall. But they did better than Leroy and Naya. Everyone hates on them, but it's just like they're not terrible though. They're not terrible.
No.
Which is something to hang your hat on. Next goes Jordan and Sarah versus Bananas and Nani. Jordan and Sarah, they do pretty well, considering what about Jordan?
He's handicapped. He only has 1 full hand. The other hand is not fully developed. Or I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe a farming accident when he was a child, like a tractor accident? Or he was born that way?
He lost a debt to the Yakuza or something.
Oh.
So Sarah and Jordan, they both get to rope 3. They do pretty well. Sarah falls. Then soon Jordan.
At first, he was dominating it. He was going down like his strong arm, his right arm with his full hand. He's able to just hang onto their rope and slide down. And he even grabbed over to the other rope and got that with his smaller hand and was able to hold on to it as he brought himself over. Like, it didn't seem like a hindrance at all. But once they got down to 3.
Meanwhile, Bananas and Nani are going. And Bananas basically has to wait on rope 2 forever until eventually he can't hold it anymore. And he falls. And he releases.
This is sound. I don't know that I've ever heard this sound. I don't know that it's something that's in nature that you could compare to something else. Is there another animal out there that makes this noise? I'm not really sure. He lets out this screech or this scream. It was very comical as Bananas fell right to the bottom. It's like he got kicked in the nuts.
But, Bananas owns up. He's like, you know what, I feel
he left
like,
his dignity up there.
Yeah, I left my partner dangling up there and my dignity as well. What can you do?
It was nice that he acknowledged it. It was pretty funny to hear, though. I enjoyed it.
By this time, Nani's freaking out. She just says, there's no way I can do this without him. I need him here. But she somehow gets to the third rope. You know, good job for her. I usually diss her. I can't deny that she got to rope 3. That's good.
Yeah, I figured she probably would have just let go immediately.
Yeah.
But she at least got down to another one, which is impressive.
Yeah. And she got to that third rope, but she fell off. And I like this mission, actually. I really liked it. I thought it was cool that every time they fell, the ropes would, like, it was like raining or something, so like the rain would fall off. It just looked really
I wasn't
cinematic.
Sure I couldn't tell if it was really raining or if it was something that they did. They just had like sprinklers up there.
They're just like, okay, now
we're gonna make it like a movie set and make it raining, and it's gonna be like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Water
You're
the
on the
plants.
ocean. Maybe the ropes would start blowing in the wind.
That'd be really sad if the challenge started to make up their own weather conditions.
I could see it happen. It'd be the perfect storm.
Now that the challenge is over, TJ says last place is between Leroy and Naya and Bananas and Nani. It's Leroy and Naya. They're going to their 4th dome this season.
Yeah, and Leroy seemed surprised. He thought because he had gotten down to the 5th rope and rang the bell.
Mm-hmm. But TJ has to reassure him that he said these rules before, which he did. He said that it's all about the team, how far they get. But if every team lost a partner on rope 2, then it would be up to the survivors. Had every other person lost a teammate on rope 2, then Leroy would have won. Because Bananas went first, but Nani fell on 3. Same with Jay and Jenna, they went on 3. So
I don't understand why they went with that way of scoring. Because to me, if I was doing this, it was Leroy got 5. He made 5 ropes. Naya got to 2 ropes. That's 7.
mm-hmm.
But then you have Bananas and Nani. And they only got to 3. So that equals 6. So I feel like Leroy's team got more ropes than their team. Like, that's how I would have scored it. They were only as good as the worst person. And the fact that she fell off on rope 2.
They stated it beforehand.
I mean, if I was making that challenge, I wouldn't have. Because to me, that's just making the worst person on the team. That's setting the bar. I don't feel like it was fair to them.
I mean, the point was teamwork. So I guess you shouldn't count that either one partner is going to carry you all the way through. TJ then says first place was between Jay and Jenna and Jordan and Sarah. But it wasn't Jay. It was the one-armed man. Jordan and Sarah. They won. They're going straight to the final.
Yeah. Like, I thought he would be handicapped and it would be harder for him to get down to the rope with just one full hand. Like, knowing that possibly that hand is going to be stronger than the other guys, but he can't alternate arms which one he's hanging on, really. It wasn't really a handicap. He was totally capable of just sticking with everybody and doing better.
Yeah.
It was impressive. I was really impressed with it. It's like, and the one where he had to have the giant, what is that?
Sledgehammer?
Yeah, the sledgehammer. The giant sledgehammer, and he was whipping that, and he did great with it. Like, these physical challenges aren't really that tough for Jordan sometimes. He's really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. They're going straight to the final. Leroy and Naya are going to the very last dome, and TJ asks, all right, now, as winners, you guys get to decide who's going to go against the losers in this final dome, and I need that decision right now. And there they gasp. Yes.
I actually missed this when we watched it because right as we got to this scene, I always know that like in the previous episodes, they just go back to the house and then there's that night and then the next day and then they talk about it like usually that night later. This are just like vote right now. You don't have any time to think about it. You're not going to convene over dinner. None of that bullshit. You're just saying right now who are you picking.
Yeah. Not very romantic about that on the spot.
No, couldn't wine him or dine him or anything.
So now Sarah turns to Jordan and whispers in his ear.
Jordan acts as if Sarah just said, like, Jordan's mom's name or something. Like, no, you couldn't throw my mother in. Yes. He was offended. He's like, no, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Blown away by it.
Sarah says this will now be the most damning thing, most hurtful thing to my challenge career I'll ever do. But it is going to be Bananas and Nani versus Leroy and Naya. And Bananas says, you're lying, Sarah. Don't fuck around. Don't fuck around.
What's
In
happening.
her ear,
Yeah.
you know?
And he knows what's happening and he's trying to correct it right there.
Yeah. He's like, are you kidding me? They haven't even been in a dome yet. And it cuts to Jay and Jenna, and Jay is just hugging Jenna's shoulder. He's like, oh my god, we didn't have to do a single dome. We get to go straight to the final. We have
like
guaranteed payment. Bananas is still in Sarah's ear saying, you can't do this. Sarah. Like, he was just like, it's like, I can't believe it. Sarah, no. And then it cuts. We're slapped in the face again. Ow. With another to be continued.
We have Leroy and Naya versus Bananas and Nani again. This is already played out, so why do we have to watch a rerun?
What's going to be more annoying? Leroy and Naya beating Bananas and Nani again? Or Leroy and Naya beating Bananas and Nani and then getting beat by them because of some production just throwing them back into the game? Either way, it's going to piss me off. And Sarah's main mantra throughout this entire episode was, I'm through being the good woman, the good girl. I'm through being the good girl. I'm sick and tired of playing the nice person when I see all the assholes in these challenges win and I get screwed over. And she decides that no, it's never worked for me before, and now I have to make these moves.
She said it was like her 7th or 8th season?
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
I didn't know that. Like, I knew she'd been in previous seasons, but I didn't know she'd been around that long. I think she made the great play there, the smart play, which was we need to get rid of our biggest competitors. And that's the biggest and the strongest for any kind of physical challenge. Leroy is already in there. He's the biggest, strongest guy. And then you have Bananas. He's number 2. And to be able to throw him in, those are your strongest competitors right there, those 2 teams. It wasn't a cowardly move to throw in a friend.
Yeah, not like how Bananas said it. Yeah. Where he's like, this is the most calculated, distasteful move or
and
something
betrayal.
I've ever seen in challenge history.
Yeah.
This is
Someone
coming from the guy.
The word betrayal.
So, this is coming from the guy who's always thrown the island in his face. Everyone always does that. Like, it's either Paula saying it or fans saying it. Like, what about Paula on the island? How you screwed her over? This is a whole nother challenge where it wasn't even a real challenge. It was like, if the challenge was sick and tired of them being compared to Survivor, even though technically the challenge has been around before Survivor, what do they do to fight back? They create an entire challenge that looks like Survivor. They're on an island. There's no challengers. They're just starving to death. And then they are eliminated by vote. So the island, it was a challenge. It was an island unto itself. No other challenge season was ever that odd and horrible and desolate and miserable. You will always put the island on Bananas' title because that was his stepping out as Johnny Bananas.
Was that his WrestleMania moment? Like
it was
his first Royal Rumble win?
Yeah, totally, man.
That's the crowd booing or cheering or?
To me, he won as a heel, and people might see him as a face nowadays. But I'm like, it starts at the origin. I'm more concerned with the origin story. I don't know. In conclusion, I just wanted to say, Sarah, her main mantra was like, you don't get far as being the good girl by making the nice decisions. And I played that way, but where did it get me? Nowhere. And with that, I just wanted to go on a spoiler bonanza and just basically say that she's never lost on account of getting screwed over, ever. She's either DQ'd, thrown up out of something, gotten...
Thrown up out of something?
Thrown up in a final, thus getting DQ'd. Like, she just couldn't go on anymore. She had to be...
Is that when she was going up the hill?
Paramedics. No. This was a final at another season where she got to the final and she was talking this big game about, like, I don't want Cara Maria on my team. She's going to slow us down the whole time, right? Gets to the final, she's throwing up. She can't go on. She has to be brought in on a stretcher. She said 2 other people DQ themselves, and then thus she had to leave with their partner either through sexual harassment or just straight up quitting. This chick couldn't handle it anymore. She quit, and Sarah didn't. She had no choice but to go with her. She's had other finals where she lost fair and square. So Sarah's saying that playing the good girl never got me any wins.
That had nothing to do with her demise in those situations.
I would want to be cheering for Sarah right now. She's in the final. That's awesome. I just wish they didn't run their mouth off like they planned the entire thing. Do I think that the challenge needs new champions? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course we do. We don't want Bananas to win a sixth time.
What does that do for anyone? Bananas has already established dominance. He doesn't need another win.
You bring Bananas out like you bring out Brock Lesnar. Like, he's got the belt. Look at him.
No one can touch him.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, well, I like these wrestlers better. I don't know. I completely lost the metaphor.
Well, you were saying Bananas is like Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because, Lesnar is just untouchable. You can't ever beat him. He's going to win every year.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't win every year, and Bananas shouldn't win every year. We need
Bananas
new guys.
earns it, though. I've never argued that. Bananas has earned the majority of his wins. Oh my god, I can't believe I said
you can't
that.
Say
No, there's no way.
You're not
there's
saying
no
that with a straight face.
way. But that's for another podcast. Speaking of which, with now the season's winding down, there's only one more episode left of Battle of the Exes 2. I really want to continue this podcast. I would like to continuously churn out an episode weekly. I did ask what maybe we should record and what challenge we should record, which season. And I've kind of toyed between the Ruins or Free Agents, maybe Fresh Meat 2. So with that being said, I kind of want to ask, which season should we cover? If anyone has any opinions, just put on the comments. I'm thinking the Ruins or Fresh Meat 2 or the most previous season, Free Agents.
So you don't know any of these seasons or who wins.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of asking out there, or should I go even more old school, like the Duel, or perhaps even more older than that, like well, I don't want to do the Gauntlet yet. Although the Gauntlet might be the best season of all time. Should Wes retire? I thought he should have retired after he got his second win. I'm like, dude, just
you know what?
On top, man. Just go ahead. But he came back, and he was doing really good. But then, all of a sudden, production's like, listen, Wes, you give us numbers, you get viewers, but fuck you. We're bringing in Bananas.
They did totally screw him over by doing that. But you know what? Wes can't just be like, you know what, screw you, I'm going home. The only way to fight them is to go out there and beat them at their own game and screw with them. Go back at the challenge, dominate like you know you can, and get to the finish. And
even with these twists, though, that's what he was doing.
But how dare they do it 2 years in a row? Because it would even prove his point even more. Then if you wanted to walk away, fine. But there's evidence that they're willing to screw him over at this level. Let's see if they're willing to do it 2 years in a row. And if they do, this could ultimately just tumble the challenge and it will be no more. Could they really do this to the crowd? God, I hope not.
He goes down as being the one to expose the challenge, the producers and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to pick their winner, no matter what.
In closing, that's all I got to say about it. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, I'm out.
All right. So in closing, I'm Vincent Cloud.
David Lauer.
Here's something I gotta say though. Right now, I'm just kind of throwing up my hands though. Just whoever wins, wins. It's just bullshit from here on out.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for either of those four teams. There's no reason to. It's just this is what I was presented with, and it was this is a bullshit finish. It shouldn't have happened.
Bad booking.
Yep. Exactly. That's it. And that's my problem with WrestleMania. It runs concurrently. They're just so similar. It blows my mind that they're just so much like wrestling, where it's wow, they make this a legit challenge where winners beat losers and move on, but they figured out a way as in charge of the game to skew the rules to get certain guys to win. Vince just has to write it down. Roman Reigns pins Brock Lesnar, and it's gonna happen. He's ultimate power. In this game, they're manipulating shit, and they're getting it to work. A lot of legwork.
So, in closing, I'm Vincent Cloud. Remember to subscribe.
I'm David Lauer. Remember to comment and kind of help us with some of our questions that we had.
And producers, you might as well be called Vince McMahon.